Welcome in, everyone. We are here with our Unspoken Real Talk 2026, new and improved. Ah, and today we have my dear friend, original men's mental health on the PAMI side, Curtis E. Hall II, CEO and founder of New Caller LLC. Hello, my friend.
How you doing, Sister Pam? Pleasure to be here. You feeling great today?
Oh, I'm good. I got my coffee. So yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
be okay.
nice, nice.
So, can you tell the audience a little bit about New Collar? Because I know what it's about and I know the great things it does, but other people might not.
Okay, thank you. Blessings to your audience and whoever ears and hearts this podcast reaches. So yeah, so New Collar Solutions is the whole name. So thank you, Sister Pam. So to give a little backdrop, um, it was born out of the idea initially to get a pipeline of young men of color, different hues, into the workforce. But after mentally and spiritually sparring with God and being obedient. Like you got to back up before you get to the job. You got to deal with the person as a whole. So new collar solutions like a play on words between white collar and blue collar work in terms of having an adaptive mindset. But where that starts is first of all internally because we can't do anything external until we work on the inner workings of ourselves. So that's the backdrop and the premise and the anchoring of the blue collar solutions and empowering young men to grow into the men they were created and designed to be in Christ. And I realize that may be sensitive, but I have to be unapologetic about my calling and just know that everybody's invited to join this journey if they so decide.
It's okay because we all have, as you know, as you said, we have our path, which I think I found mine by accident, as you well know. So we have it. Some of it takes some of us a little bit of time to realize it, and takes some of us a little bit of time to find where you're at. So don't apologize. We don't apologize for that.
Mm, yeah,
So you and this is a judgment free, this is a judgment free, say what you need to
yeah,
channel for the men. So it's okay. You
yeah,
speak what's on your heart.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
I'm gonna stay in your company for a second.
Hmm.
Um when as we work on the mental health, we always said we gotta get ourselves together to help the younger. Knowing what I know about you, how is it received by the younger kids getting the support? Do you see like at the beginning when one comes in and kind of apprehensive about, you know, working with you guys
So,
as to how is that? Do you see a change in them? Are they receiving it? Or is it sometimes difficult to get them to meet you and open up?
so I would say it's always a slight apprehension because it's unknown territory for them. And I'll be honest, sometimes it is for me because you just never know how your energy may be perceived. Like I feel like I'm genuine, but how's that being perceived by them? But to answer your question, Sister Pam, usually it's kind of like a feeler. As I share this insight with you, I'm thinking about whether I'm in a school or in the community, like whether it's a rec center or we meet at a local Starbucks. It's like let me watch his body language. So I find a lot of times they're looking at my sneakers, they're looking at my haircut, they're listening to the diction of my voice, they're looking
Mm-hmm.
at how I interact with their mom or dad, whoever's there. So they're really taking the keen attention to those micro nuances. And then as the conversation unfolds, you see their body language relax, wherever that is. Now, to put it and bifurcate it in a group setting, it usually looks like, okay, we think he's cool. It's kind of like the boldest settlement, but then I'll get these pockets. Like if I go to the restroom, hey, Brother Curtis, can I talk to you? Or like this. So it happens again like that. And a one on one, it's kind of like the layers go back sports, relationships with family, then I share a little bit about myself because I have to be forthcoming. If I'm looking to ask for trust to be built, I have to come forth with that. So I'll share something not too traumatic, or but I will share something like I have experienced discriminatory behavior as an army officer. I have done things that I'm not proud of. So it's done in a way to where it's organic, not necessarily airing my laundry, but let them know, hey, I'm putting this invitation and I'm doing my best to walk it. And that's how the walls kind of come down. So did that get the core of your question?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So That's what I'm, our end goal is to, like we say, heal ourselves and then go back and help the youth. And
Mm.
I was at one of your um what do we call it? Is it
Did
a
you?
camp or event?
Yeah.
Event. And still mad that I hadn't gotten back to any other ones, but that's beside the point. Um, but that was a first for me to see young kids of color receive, and so they were so excited when they were coming through the door. You had a
Mhm.
two couple, I think I saw only two that was kind of reserved, but
Mm.
when they left completely different than when
Yeah.
they came in. And I'm like, that what you're doing is great. Because I've never seen it in that quantity. We were talking the other night that big brothers and big sisters really don't exist anymore like they did when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
every year during high school or middle school, I had somebody.
Yeah.
The only difference was for me, because I'm here in Charlottesville, my somebody was not like me.
Mm.
And when I asked for somebody like me, she was still, I guess you say, like them.
Mm.
So I wasn't getting what I was looking for. I was trying to learn about me because your parents are too busy to, dad worked 12-hour days. Only time I saw him was in between the full time and a part time. And then I was asleep.
Mm.
So I was just trying to figure out, find me, and I couldn't find anybody like me. So when
Mm.
I see your program, um, I I like it. I also was talking about how, this is a UVA driven. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that now. I don't care. It's a UVA driven town, city, country, county, whatever. And when I was growing up, the only thing we had was MTV.
Mm. Mhm.
So we knew nothing but Duran Duran, so on and so forth. And to see our people come back um, and pour into our town so that our young kids of color they're working so hard trying to get stuff for us, for the
Mm.
kids, and they're even, it's even to the point where there's stuff for the adults now. I mean, I still don't mind driving to Richmond and hanging out, but
Mm.
there's stuff here now that if you don't feel like driving, you don't have to. They've
Mm.
gotten it to the point where there's something every weekend, and you're getting out and you're meeting people that are like yourself, you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
They have this thing every February, Black Symposium soiree, Black Soiree Symposium. I might have it backwards.
Mm.
I went one year, met a lot of nice people, and developed friendships from that.
Mhm.
From that, it began. You can network if you want to. They even have on Wednesday a Black networking.
Oh, wow.
So, something we didn't have growing up. I didn't
Yeah.
see any of this. I am 50, and I'm just seeing it.
Mhm.
It wasn't even here when my kids were. You know, if it wasn't sports, my kids really didn't have anything to do. Nowhere to
Mm.
go, nothing to do, nothing to
Mm.
do. So taking a trip to Richmond to go to a Chuck E. Cheese was like, it's just, yeah. So thank you for that, you and your crew.
Yeah, thank you. I want and thank you for sharing, Sister Pam. I wanted to come back and say definitely everybody who helped with the Youth Wellness Expo. I really love them, from my wife to all the providers, and I'm not gonna try to go down everybody's name because I don't want to make
Mhm.
sure anybody, but they're all exceptional in their own right. And it takes humility, but yet a what I call positive hubris, because even though we're in this space, we can't never take for granted. So I always appreciate the organic authenticity they come with. And then, in particular, as you shared about students being reserved, I believe one of them, of course, I won't say their name, but is now a client, a perennial client of my wife, and that's a testament to God and her with the work that she's done in that young lady's life, and then that young lady's courage to come forth. So yes, we definitely have to have patience in terms of how we approach them. And I will say, going to what you said about things being accessible. Now, me growing up in Philadelphia, North Philadelphia is a little different because of the
Mhm.
city. And I'm 2 years, so we're both Gen Xers. Gen X is the best generation. I'm 48. So I did have access to things, but it looked different. And I share this often, any platform I'm on, public or private. I give credence to the people in my community, not just the elders, but well as those drug dealers and different things. It's not to put them on spot in a bad way, but even in that midst of what seemed like chaotic, there was a sense of community and safeguarding and boundaries around protecting those that lived in that space. So even though from a legal perspective it was incongruent, there was a sense of core responsibility and ownership within that community that allowed me and my mother to at least have some modicum of peace since my father wasn't there physically to be like the protector, you know, and some instances. So, and I had people volitionally take it upon themselves to pour into me, which planted those seeds that germinate into the courage that you see now in every evolving where I have the mandate to be a vehicle and vessel for others because my life is not about me. My life is about others, God and others. So,
Mhm. I'm gonna share this, and then we're gonna hit the ground running, which we already are. But sorry, um, that event that I attended, like I said, I learned a lot. I saw a lot. The thing I can take away from this that I take away and I hold dear is the meeting your wife and developing that friendship.
hmm
She was the kindest person I've met.
hmm
Wow. She was genuine. It wasn't, anything, and it's hard to find it right now because everybody has a wall up, but she talked, she shared, she helped, she was just there. And when I saw her again at the book thing,
mm
lovely lady, I follow her page, just love her to death. Love her to death. So yeah, that's what I took
So,
away from that one.
so just for those that may listen, my wife is Coach Yolanda, aka Love, but Coach Yolanda. Her page is Unbreakable Minds Coaching, and you can find her on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. She's phenomenal, and I know that's probably like not unbiased coming from me, but even if I was just a regular Smojo, I would say, hey, get your young lady, your aunt, whoever connected to my wife. She serves primarily between 15 25, so that definitely that critical transition to young womanhood, adulthood. So Unbreakable Minds, Coach Yolanda Hall, for those that may be interested in learning more about the real star of the Hall family.
Oh, and I'm gonna co-sign it. I hey, I co-sign that one. She does amazing work. If you go look at her page, you'll see the work that she does. So this is what I call a power couple
Mhm.
because he's working on the young men's side, she has the young women, but coming together, they are reaching our youth as a whole.
Mhm.
So yeah, power couple 2026. You said that you grew up in North.
North Philly, yes, North Philadelphia.
So I know Philly is not a Charlottesville, and it's not a a suburban Richmond. How was that growing up as far as a young black man trying to be the best he can be with the peer pressure and other stuff that you would run into as a young black man? Did you have issues, or was mom that person for you?
So I had challenges. I was raised primarily by my mother and grandmother,
Hmm.
Martha and my mother Frances Hall, both of them have long since gone to glory. So my father did provide financially, and I just got to put this in there like he's going to glory as well. I feel closer to him now than I ever felt while he was here physically present. But to go back to your question, like I had challenges because I was different in terms of just like how you ever heard the phrase like you're not built like that. And so while I was in like a street environment, even the people around me, it's like people can see the gift or the potential in you when others can't, and when you're still learning yourself. So I thank God for His hedge of protection, which I had no language to articulate at the time, Sister Pam. I grew
Hmm.
up penny loafers, Buster Brown shoes, and my mother did this to try to instill some dignity in me. But sometimes when you're in your neighborhoods, when culture is telling sneakers and Jordans, they're like, oh, you think you're better than. So I would get into a lot of fights just because of how my mom was dressing me. And like I said, these weren't expensive clothes, but she was trying to instill a sense of dignity and class and self-respect. And what I didn't know then, she's like, the way you dress is an investment of or display of your self-love. And I don't even know she had the language, but understand it now, these many years later, her and my grandmother, that's what they were attempting to do, to build an anchor for me to respect myself and carry myself a certain way. But it brought on a lot of fights and confrontations. So I was very pugilistic, and some of that contributed to trauma that I'm still working through. And I'll share with anybody. I'm still going through therapy, different things now, working within my marriage individually and other aspects of my life to deal with things down earth. Because to your point that you said about self awareness, it could be daunting to realize, oh man, I didn't know that was festering on the inside of me. So while it was foundational, and it's like, even though it was arduous, would I change it because it helped refine me? So and some of the gravest mistakes came the most power out of it. So I'm not proud of anything that I did by chance. So I don't want to send that message at all. But while
Mhm.
will is redemption, reconciliation on the other side as you grow, and it's making me a better husband and father and a better me. So I hope that made sense. But in no way am I condoning or supporting impulsive choices or anything. But what I realize is that there is a way back if we're willing to do the work. So I hope that summarized that.
Yeah. So the view on the two wonderful women that molded you into the person that we see today.
Mm.
Um, my whole shiny squirrel just went completely left. I knew exactly what I was getting ready to say, and it left me. It did. It
Uh,
just it left me just like that. But I know it. We're gonna skip it, and I'm a circle back because I know what I want to ask. It just wow, it just left me. Okay, so I'm gonna skip to another one that I got on the top of my head. So you were doing 9 to 5 jobs, right? Your
mhm.
regular 9 to 5.
Yes.
When you took that leap of faith to open your own business, do
Mhm.
run your own business, did that mess with your mental? How did you get through the ups and downs of opening up and being successful?
So thank you for that, Sister Pam. And I still do work a day job.
Okay.
So, but to your point, it was very, it's a tall order. Because in addition to not really having no business savvy, because I didn't know none of that, girl. Entrepreneur, I didn't learn that term until I was grown. Like I seen it on paper, but
Uh-huh.
to try to live it is a whole different thing. And then it looks different for everybody, just like a tailor-made suit looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
So the business part was definitely daunting, but in terms of the engagement, and I'm like, how do I enter the world in a new space and through a new lens? So it's a sense of humility that goes with it, but I've learned to embrace the adventure and the unknown because there's positive and miraculous in the mundane and the tension of every day and learning it and walking along this journey. And the quick one is going back to your earlier insight or example, like when I walk into the space with young men and their families, like you're inviting them to trust you, you know. And regardless of what we say, we have the 10 gentle things for money and everything and all the administrative stuff, which is good. But at the core of it is the currency of trust that is the anchor of that relationship and that exchange. So it's not merely transactional, it's relational. So what I had to do, and I know this was a long way to get to it, but I had to
Oh, you fine.
lean into those things that are not necessarily tangible to show up. So we're still refining, like when you talk about bookkeeping and stewardship of the business. So it was a lot, but it's ongoing, and we realize that God gives you things that you're not meant to fulfill by yourself. So to the point of being connected to beautiful folks like you and others who are part of our what I call our soul circle or soul village has been very imperative for us to learn as we seek to edify each other and learn the business piece as well as the relational piece to make a whole thing of who we are individually and realize that our efforts complement each other in serving our communities.
Well, that was the same thing, like you said, the trusting part that I'm
Yeah.
learning from the men of Unspoken,
Mm.
because some have told me, which I'm really okay with, that they were very apprehensive about dealing with a female
Mm.
with their personal stories and understanding their struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And once they realized that I wasn't in for, as you know, the money, the I just want the other men who are kind of gun shy about their mental,
Mm-hmm.
about talking to others, to meet men who are doing it, who
Mm-hmm.
who are out there, who are willing to talk about it. And they said once they realized where my heart was with this, they said,
Mm.
they're just on board. I'm like, somebody's like, oh, you wrote these books, you making money. I said, don't you still see me working a 9 to 5 plus part time? I'm not even the non, men's book. I'm doing them, and if one takes off, one takes off. If one don't, one don't. I'm just here to get that out for you guys. And as
Mm.
you know, we got two more coming,
Yes.
but we got two more coming. The last one for this year, I'm kind of excited about because I want to see how that's going to turn out. Is you all writing letters to the younger you
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. I thought,
about
yes.
about mental. So
Yes.
that one I think is going to be exciting. The one that I need to keep, put some fire underneath of is you guys answering the questions that women have about
Mm-hmm.
men's mental, that they don't want to, like let's say your wife comes home and she sees that you're not, yourself, but she's scared to ask you what's wrong. So she has
Mm.
questions, but she's scared to ask you. So I have like a list. So I'm just splitting them out and letting the men of Unspoken answer the questions from their point of view, how they're feeling. Like, one was like, when you are not yourself, you shut down.
Mm.
Why do you shut down? So that's the men are just answering their questions. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you shut down? Or why do you not talk to me? Or why do you like why do you push me away? So we're answering
Yeah.
questions. So we're not really writing stories. We are just
Mm.
answering the women's questions from so they can get a better perspective of how our men feel about the mental and and talking to their partners, because some don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
the previous question was that you
yeah.
were raised by the lovely ladies with dad
Uh,
there. So they say, air quote, that the African American men suffer from the mental health because of the learned behavior. So, they're not supposed to cry. They're supposed to carry this. They're supposed to carry that. But you were saying how your mom made sure that you were dressed in your penny loafers and you carried yourself a certain way. Did you not feel that weight that others would feel because dad wasn't always there?
hmm. And when you say wait, you mean the restraining display of acknowledging emotion, different things. Is that what you're
Yeah.
referring to?
Yep. That they're not supposed to cry. They're supposed to stay strong. Da 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 da.
Well, I was very very antithetical to that belief, and what I said, my mother and grandmother encouraged me to show my emotion,
Hmm.
um, in terms of expressing the way. Now they realized it had to look different because of the whole tinge of masculinity. They were careful to do the best they could about being forthcoming, saying I've never been a young boy, but it's not healthy to hold that in. But what they didn't have, and this is no shade to my mother, grandmother, they didn't have the language, the capacity to say or to put me in environments, more environments. Well, I take that back because I'll come back to the environments, but how to
Hmm.
it's personally from them how that should be done. So what I will say is my mother put me in boarding school from 7th to 12th grade, and that's a whole nother part that's actually in the book I'm working on that has set for some while because God is like it's a whole nother thing we can talk about another day. But basically, she realized some way, you know what, I need to put Curtis in an environment and realize this was going to be uncomfortable for me because this meant me being 2 to 3 hours away from her outside the city. And I went to a school called Scotland School for Veterans Children, and basically it was a school where if your mother, father, or whoever is your legal guardian had an honorable discharge from one of the armed services, you can send your kid there at a minimal of tuition, and it's almost like being in college. So
Right.
I grew up with other young men and women, mostly from Philadelphia, but some from Pittsburgh and Central Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, and that became a hub, and it became a core part. And realizing later in life that was a big sacrifice because after my grandmother passed in '95, it was just me and my mother, and so I didn't realize how much that was hurting her. Like, it's almost like, and I'm not calling myself Moses, but it's an example that come on when the mother had to put him in the river. Like,
Hmm.
I'm giving up the. I know I'm not equipped to raise this young man, and he has a future that he's called to. So I got to step out on faith and let go, and that's what she did, and it was very formative. So it was through that I started to navigate. God was navigating me with it. Like I said, I was not conscious of this, but like even through the fights and having to advocate for myself, because even though we were displaced, we still had city tension because a lot of us were still in that same city, North Philly, West Philly, South Philly, and other parts. So I had to learn those inner workings, and a lot of things did get expressed. 'Cause I didn't have the language to even identify it. But to go to the point of my mother and grandmother, they were very forthcoming and saying, "Don't you hold it in, but always hold some respect, especially when you're dealing with us, because we'll tap into you and touch your neck."
Right.
So
Right. Hmm.
yeah,
See, I appreciate that because that was the question I had, but I don't know why it just went out my because when we talk about the men's mental health, they always say that our African American men were raised conditioned to see that. So I was wondering how you saw that with two lovely ladies. So I appreciate you sharing that because some of us don't have anybody that raises. Some of us just we're on our own at 12 or 13 and made the best of it.
yes, yes.
Do you miss Philly?
The city itself, at times I do. I know I didn't want to stay there, so I appreciate this my home city for what it does for me. I do miss it sometimes in terms of
The food?
what I experienced. I guess the memories. So not necessarily present day because even as I talk to my friends from high school, they're like, Kurt, you won't recognize the city. But there was such a strong sense of community, and while I still had to work through things, it still gave me a sense of solitude, some instance. So, and the best I can liken again is like Moses was in Egypt. Now, granted, Egypt wasn't perfect, but it gave him components to fulfill his destiny. So ultimately, it was all used for his good, for God's glory, for his good. So that's how I see Philly.
I always wonder because I can't understand why people move from different areas here. I'm
Hmm.
going, why? You know,
Hmm.
just why?
Hmm.
Because had my goal leaving Virginia State was to move to North Carolina or Atlanta.
Hmm.
You see, I'm still here. Yeah, as I was making my way to fulfill that, I met the husband,
Hmm.
and oh, here I am. So, and like you said, it was supposed to be because if I didn't stay, my brother is capable of taking care of, the ones that have passed, but they needed more than his capabilities. And
Yeah.
all of it fell on me. So, 2012, I buried a grandmother. 2014, I buried my dad. 2016, my mom died on my 50th birthday. Now y'all can figure out how old I am. And less than a year after that, yeah, less than a year after that, my husband died. So my mom died September the 27th. The following year, my husband died September the 15th.
Wow.
So that's why I was here.
Wow. Thank you for
I'm
sharing.
still standing. I'm still standing.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I'm just sitting with what you shared. Oh, that's a, um. Well, first of all, once again, let me back up. I want to thank you for how you, because I can't imagine how it is to step out and take the mantle of being an advocate for men and what that must look like for a woman like you know, and disrupting anything you had going on. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you didn't raise your hand to God talking about let me be the whatever. You know, it was a calling that's ingratiating to who you are. So thank you for your humility and obedience to that. And thank you for sharing the space to trust, not just with me, but anyone who reaches this. And I pray that it continues to fall on fresh soil and is tailored or speaks to them however is meant to speak to their respective transformation, how that looks. So, and it gives us now to making sure we honor each other's journey. So to your point, and I keep coming back to this as we talk, because you opened up by saying how are we received? Like we gotta have the compassion, like everybody struggles with their experiences, however that look, you know. And the goal is to reach a place of understanding and mutual respect in every encounter. And then realize, okay, if it's meant for us to coexist in a certain intimate sense, then that's okay. But that we respect each other's journey and realize we bring a lot of things to the table. And then when you talked about communicating, I'm going back to the part when you talked about us answering the questions women have, you know, a lot of that is psychological safety. And I share at a 30,000 view what that looks like for my wife and I, and learning each other and starting to have boundaries and guardrails around how we communicate to be more healthy. It starts with, and I'll speak from my side, not having a pre-scripted narrative, because what I learned is even though it's not my intention all the time, I may have an idea of things. So how do I really write the slate clean and be open and present in the moment to hear what she's saying, and not have my legacy experiences taint that with whatever's going on. So this, when you talk about that inner work and us knowing ourselves, it takes time to build healthy habits, but consistency can compound and build healthy habits where the interest will pay off, just like it does in money. So we have to be consistent in that because it is possible, but we have to uproot and plant and uproot. It's not just enough to stop something. We have to replace it with something healthy. So when we talk about men, that's what we have to do as we continue to grow to be a vehicle and vessel for others. So I know, but you just kind of brought that whole stream of consciousness out of me.
It was when, like you said, replant, remove and replant. I am processing that myself because there was a time that I used to go out with the girls. I used to, there wasn't a Friday night you couldn't find me somewhere, or Saturday or whatever. I still go hit or miss, but I had to process, and I'm still working on it, the fact that I had to, if I wanted this to work, if I want my books to be written and things that we have planned to happen, I got to let that go, because I had to sit back and say, which one's more important to you? Going out, hanging out, I had to remove that. But I, even though I'm, like I said, 50 years old, I still felt like I was missing something because I had been doing it for a while, but I felt like I was missing something, or I didn't fit in where I used to be. So that's a process that I'm personally dealing with right now, going, it's okay that you're not out. Sometimes it's a struggle because I'm like, you go, man, I would, I could put on, I'm going out, but then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to have you guys out, getting out to the people if I was outside, basically. Just call it what it is. If I was outside, what would get sacrificed?
Yeah.
So I'm dealing, I wouldn't say demons, but I'm dealing with my own personal inner fight with what's right or what I should be doing versus what I want to be doing. So it's that want and need type of thing. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, and let me know. Let me know if this resonates with you. Thank you for sharing against Sister Pam. Like, because what I hear is integration in terms of having where your head, your heart, and all the facets of who Sister Pam is. They end up in agreement based on the choices that you're making, knowing what you have to do, because you realize, as you so eloquently stated, if you say yes or no to one thing, you're doing the inverse to the other. So where's my priorities at? And I have to be in agreement. And the word this week the Lord gave me was about integration in terms of how God is forming us into a whole man or a whole woman. We and to be consistent through that through line of how we show up and the choices made. So thank you for sharing that, because it is struggle, and I'm continuing to go through it as well. Because what's hard, and let me know if you agree with this, is certain parts that's not necessarily sin or bad, but certain things that's not productive that we like. It's for me, it's easy to abscond and evacuate what maybe like, okay, I don't like it, but if I have an affinity for it, or if I want to do it, then I probably shouldn't spend much time there because it's not in the line what I need to be doing. So, what you share resonated with me. So I don't know if that made sense.
It did, because what made me come to this conclusion that I needed to start paying attention to it. It was like one day in November or something. I went out with the girls, and while I was out with the girls, I spent more time with a pen and a napkin writing down what I needed to do versus enjoying the atmosphere that was around me and engaging in. I was in the conversations, but I wasn't present in the conversations. So at that point, I realized that if you going, why don't you stay at home if you're gonna write stuff on a post-it note, on a paper napkin, just to stuff in your purse? Then this isn't where you are supposed to be. But I wasn't sure, so I double checked myself. We went out again, and I wasn't even there. I mean, even though you know how people go out and they stay on their phones, I was writing notes on my phone.
Mm,
So I was like, okay, so this is not where I need to be consistently. So that's why I'm trying to find that balance of, you know, because I go to the concerts. Concerts great because you can work that in. That's where you want to be. But when you're going out just to go out, I spend more time thinking about
mm-hmm,
what I should have, not what I should have been doing, but what I need to do as soon as I get in the house.
mm, mm,
So that's what my 2026 struggle is. It just, you know, I know what I'm doing
mm.
here because you saw the schedule. I put the dates out there. The dates are out there. I'm going back in later today and add more dates because I'm balancing Old Navy's time with when they don't schedule me, then I can plug in extra days. So yeah, I during Christmas break, see that's why I
Mm.
wasn't here. I was doing 75 to 83 hours a week between the two jobs. So
Wow.
I had nothing to give. And then I hurt myself during Christmas. So
Yeah.
I had nothing to give.
Oh,
So I'm here and I'm ready. And we have some really cool people coming through outside of our Unspoken family. And I'm trying to
yeah.
continue to, pull, not pull, but get our our unique guests, as I like to call them, because we
Yeah.
had Lake Lewis from NFL analysts on last week.
Nice.
Um, we got a local comedian who is, developing himself out in the world on coming on. Excited about that. You ready for this?
Yeah. I'm ready.
Bill Lester will be here.
Wow. 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 Oh,
So
wow.
we're getting, and it's this when I get the replies back saying, hey, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna look at the schedule, and I'm getting excited because some of them are saying I needed to see what you guys were about, which I'm okay with that before I jump on. I understand. We all got to research, I'm not, we're not here to exploit, we're here to support. This is a no judgment zone. And as I tell people, I'm the only female that will ever be on the show. This is for the men only. And if the men ever need this platform to, like, let's say you had somebody you wanted to interview for the mental health and you wanted it to be on here, I can set it up and I can just go to the corner and you can just run the whole show.
Oh wow, thank you, Sister Pam.
So
Okay.
it's set up for you guys to do what you need to do. So if you know, I'm thinking like blood drive for men's mental health and stuff like that. So I got things in, like I said, on that little piece of paper
Yeah.
that I want to do. I just got to get the wheels rolling. I want to do something big in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want a 2-day event where people can fly in and, sign up for different like seminars, like you'd have your seminar and,
Yeah.
like a breakout and, yours is from, let's say 1 to 3 and they're in your room, just this is the mindset.
Mm.
So I'm working on getting a sponsor for our channel and a
Mm.
sponsor for that event.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
that's what I said. I can't be outside
Yeah.
and be successful. If I want this to grow, I can't be there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm really grateful for all the work that you've done and will continue to do. And as I share this next part, I'm talking to myself as well. And I humbly submit that we just continue to get rest where we need to.
Mhm.
And what that looks like. Sister Pam sitting with her feet up, listening to jazz and scriptures. Please continue to fill your cup as you traverse this your calling. So, and I'm doing the same, because God is like, you need to spend time with me away from that as well. So, and the word that He gives me is harmony, harmony, harmony. So I share that for whatever it's worth because that's very important. And I find I show up better, you know, when I had that time to refresh with Him. And so, like I said, sometimes it's not even related to new collar or work, but it's just time to just saturate and like to get that spiritual air and internal air and laugh. I have a lot of times where I take brain breaks and just watch a comedic skit or something. Those micro injections of things that lighten the mood and let your brain recharge and just spirit refresh. So yeah.
I get the laughter because I have to have white noise going to sleep. So it's either what is it? The Cutlers, the Cutlers Court just playing in the background because that's funny. And or Living Single, or
Yeah,
one of those is just playing in the background just so that I can just
yeah.
so yeah, I can't go to sleep without the TV on. That's how I know, like during a storm or something. Well, of course we were raised to turn it off. But like
Yeah.
if a storm comes up or in the middle of the night, the power goes out and I don't hear the TV. I mean, I could be dead asleep and the power goes out, TV goes off, I'm up. What happened? What's going on? I've been like that since I was little. And my dad would yell at me to turn the TV off when he'd walk past my room
Uh-huh.
because he had to go past my room to get to the bathroom. So when I heard him shuffle back across, I said, "Ooh, I got another 2 hours." I turned the TV back on. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh my God.
I like I said, I know we're talking. I notice I'm kind of sticking with the young children at the moment, but I just want to go back and say I really appreciate you for doing that. I I I wish, and I know this is a big request, that you could have satellite new callers in different in different places. Like, hey, let's have a meeting. Hey brothers, can you take this one? Can you take that one? Because you got an awesome fraternity. You should reel them in and say, hey, I need you to branch this out to your just take it and run. Because
So
they
so
need it.
so to your point, and thank you for that, Sister Pam. We're looking at the formation of a community through some mediums, and I have some awesome partners, and I got to shout out my social media manager. Anytime you see anything with me, my Sundays at Sunset or post, Sister Janice Lee has been awesome in helping shoulder some of that, a lot of that with her acumen, and then I got to thank her husband, brother Chris Lee, who's now coming in. So when you talk about scaling, we are forming a community because what I'm getting into, and I'm glad you highlighted the youth because I do work with men as well, like men, we got across. And I have a great partnership with a Christian community church here, 3C in Henrico Men's Fellowship, and I can shoot the flyer to you via text. And then we have a men's conference coming up. That church, I'm grateful to be connected to that church. Brother Rodney Gore, he works with my wife, and we've since become great brothers and friends. And
Hmm.
so, first Saturday each month we meet, and it's like an informal setting where we break bread, but some type of edification takes place where somebody facilitates, and we come together, and it's young men from 14 to 70 something. And so we do a lot of work with men. Like I currently work with men. Like I'm 40 in my 40s, going into my 50s. And men are still looking for answers. Men are still dealing with things, as we both know. So we are getting that word in terms of how we can spread the word and making sure that men have more spaces of community where they can be embraced and be edified and share their value because they're being sharpened. Even if they don't see it as a jewel, it is a jewel. And a small part I share is like I've had the pleasure of working with Brother Create and Brother Angel. These are brothers that are specifically doing work to helping other brothers that come home from prison that are really truly doing the work and are running into a lot of barriers that I'm not familiar with, but I feel honored to serve alongside them and continue to learn and support them how it looks. So to your point about learning this work is ever evolving and every template doesn't look the same, but we have to be open to that collaborative space and then make sure we're being a bridge to help the needs of our community members be met. Because when that man shows up, that child shows up, that significant other shows up, that parent shows up. So how are we dealing with that? But we have to do it in a way that's not overwhelming and overextensive and just take it one bite at a time. So I know that was a lot, but you just got me kind of thinking about all of that.
No, 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 no. So this will be breaking news. Because you said something that I'm working on right now. I'm gonna try to do it through Amazon because I don't like the whole GoFundMe because I don't want people to think that there's a scam going on.
Yeah.
But what I would like to do, because you said about our men in the system,
Mm.
is prepare exit or return to the community bags.
Mm.
So when they come out, they have socks, underwear, you know, underwear, the deodorant, the basics in a bag so that they can at least feel good about themselves as they come out.
Mhm.
Notebook, pen, paper, just, you know, I gotta get in my mind what's reasonable for that. And then I gotta get myself into not the system, but into the right person to talk to say, hey, I want to pilot this. Can you help me with it? I don't have a specific place, but I want to pilot it to see how it works before I make it part of what Unspoken does.
Okay. Well, if you open to it, I can connect you with Brother Angel. Um, we had the pleasure of serving in Boys to Men Mentoring for Virginia together. And he leads a lot of the community circles, him and Brother Creative, aka Shane Briggs. And I had the
Mhm.
pleasure of being board member for that organization. Um, and I will say this, we I won't say his name, but we had somebody who wasn't a part of Boys to Men organically per se, but they did a lot of work and they returned home from prison. Matter of fact, they were pardoned in 2022 by Governor Northam, but unfortunately, last Friday he took his own life. Um, and we're going to show respect. We're doing that, but on the 28th of February, it'll be a service in the South Side. And I got to know this brother personally. And when I got the news, I was with my daughter, coming back from getting my hair cut in Petersburg in preparation for our event on Tuesday, this past Tuesday.
Mhm.
And he said to jump in, he said, "I'm at his house now." He took his life Friday. And I just my chest got swallowed because I looked at my text. I said the last text I had from him was on January 19th. Hey Kurt, I appreciate it. I'm gonna be at the collage conference. Initially was for the 27th, but we moved it because of the weather and the ice. And I was like, this brother's so great. And there's a lot of speculation like why he didn't reach out, what he didn't do. And I'm like, but I said, not trying to be insensitive, but we really don't have all the answers. And maybe he did reach out. We missed the sign. So many questions. But that gives a charge to the mandate that we had to make these spaces. So we're dealing with that as a community. But I circle back to say I'm going to connect you with Brother Angel, since he has a prime and he's a great steward of that, to see, going back to the community bags. But I feel enlightened to share that these are things that men are, as you know all too well, they're dealing with, and it just hurt me. It hurt us. And he has a 3-year-old daughter that he left, which I didn't even know. Um, and the last time I saw him in person was at an event with VCU, and he was on the panel last year. And it was a hip hop foundation event, charged up, but we're talking about
Mhm.
mental health. And I was like, now this brother's gone. So,
That's what we don't know, and we're not. I don't want to say educated, but I'm gonna say educated. We're not educated to see the signs. Hence,
hmm
me taking a class next month called Mental Health for CPR. So
hmm
I'll be certified in that. But we don't always know the signs. You know, I could be struggling, and I've had been, but I'm still smiling. I'm not complaining. But you wouldn't know if it was a real, how deep the struggle was.
yeah,
And many years ago, I said something to my son. We were going through some stuff, and I just made the statement. I see now why people do the things that they do. That's all I said. I wasn't going to act on it, but it made him more aware to pay attention to what I was doing. And he was not, I wouldn't say watching me, but he was more aware. And I really wasn't going to do anything like that, because I won't leave my sons like that, now the grandson. But I wouldn't do that. But I made the statement, which, you know, God bless him for being aware, but he was aware of the key words.
hmm
And sometimes we don't hear the key words. I had a friend that called me, and she was crying on the phone, and she said, I can't take this anymore. For me, I'm paying attention to you. So I stayed on her like 3-4 times a day for like 5 days straight, until she sounded like herself again.
hmm
But those I listen for that, or I've had enough. They might had enough, or for the day, work or whatever. But it's just the small words that we sometimes overlook,
yes,
that are the key words.
yes, yes,
So he could have been, inside, trapped inside because of the weather, giving him enough time to think,
hmm
with no outlet. So I'm gonna do a Curtis. I'm gonna circle back there for a second. We have had so far, which I'll take it. I don't need a number, big numbers or anything, but I've gotten 3 different messages. The very first one just had me in tears. It was our first book, and when we first started doing a podcast,
hmm
he said he saw the books, or he saw the podcast, and then he saw the books, and he wanted to thank us for doing that, because he was getting ready to leave us until he saw that, and then he got the book, and
hmm
I forgot whose story he read that was similar to his, and he's like, if they can do it, I can do it, type of thing. So he's
Wow,
been, he said it was because he saw us. So I
wow.
said, okay, so there's that one. I mean, we might not be able to get them all, but there's a one. And then 2 more came behind that, a couple months later. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank God. Yeah, yeah.
So I guess this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm, mm,
I
mm,
guess.
mm, mm. I'm just sitting. I'm just gonna sit with it.
Yeah, I guess this is I would have never, Curtis, I would have never picked this. I would have never, like you said, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be retired in Jamaica during the storm. That's where I was supposed to be at. I was supposed to be running from the hurricane. That's where I was supposed to be. I kept saying 55. I was going to be retired in Jamaica. I was going to be a Jamaican resident, still in Virginia. 4 years later, not to age myself. But I tell you what, this year for the big 60, now everybody knows. Yes, 60.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, 60 this year. I am going to take myself to Jamaica. I
Oh,
already put it on the school calendar. I'm out. And
oh,
that's next school year calendar.
oh yeah. I need to carry like you, so I need to come. So I thought we were closer in age, but we're still the same generation. But yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I want to carry like you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 60 in a couple months.
Oh wow. Wow. Um, I got
Yeah.
that. Well, she turned 58 in January, and then I got one who'll be 63 March 3rd. She retired from the Unemployment Commission in Columbus, South Carolina.
Mhm,
Um, and she actually stayed with our girls, her nieces, while we were in Tahiti for our anniversary the end of November. I love my sister. My older sister is Renee, and my other sister Marcy, who's 58, and she lives in Chester, Pennsylvania. And you know, we share different parts of the parentage and the heritage, but I have my what I appreciate now is a healthy relationship with both of them as adult because we're so spread out. That's why I grew up like the only child, and if I get on into my mother and father, they met in '75. I was born in '77, but Marcy's from my dad's first marriage, and my mother had Renee fairly early, so me and Marcy share the same father. Me and Renee share the same mother.
mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't age. So, but every time I go somewhere, when they ask, when I get something, go into the three-letter store, they still ask for my ID.
I know that's right.
The lady looked at it. She said, "Is this fake?" And I'm like, "No." Uh,
I
and I was
know
like,
that.
"Why would I age myself to that number?"
So what's your birthday month?
September.
September. Okay, okay, fall baby. Okay, mine's December. Okay, and okay, my wife's is April 24th. Her is her birthday, and our oldest is April 15th, and Kendall, our youngest, is November 11th, which is also our anniversary date. So we usually just give her flowers. Her and my mother-in-law birthday on the 9th, and then we
Hmm.
celebrate our anniversary more closer to my birthday, which is December, because I'm the only one with a birthday at the end of the year. So that's when we celebrate our anniversary now. Um,
At least you're not a December 24th, baby. My brother's a December 24th.
oh yeah, yeah. Dude, so does he get those questions? Like there was no extra like gifts for me or anything. That wasn't the thing. Like I just was grateful to get anything.
Yeah, nothing extra. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I was grateful for hot dogs and pork and beans and grilled cheese sandwiches. I wasn't hard to please.
Yeah, my husband was December the 4th.
Oh
My youngest was December, well, not was, is December the 5th. Sister-in-law is December 12th. My grandmother was December the 12th. There's another one in there between the 12th and the 24th. So I got like,
wow, you got December heavy. Okay.
yeah, December was rough. And I told my grandmother, which she's like, just looked at me like I was crazy before she died. I always told her she was born 12/12/13. And I
Mm.
said, wouldn't it have been cool if you had been born a year earlier? And she was fussing at me. She says, I'm 106 years old. I don't need, so when she died, she was 108
Wow.
and was
Wow.
fussing right up until the day she died.
Wow.
Day she died.
Wow.
I went to Texas and I told the ladies in the nursing home, I said, this is the weekend that she's going to die. And they were looking at me like, what? I said, she's waiting for me to leave to die
Yeah.
because she doesn't want to put me through this. And they didn't believe me. So as soon as I landed in Texas, she had fallen.
Mm.
And the hospice people said, well, Miss James is, just wanting to stay in the bed. I said, well, she probably heard something because she won't but 50, 60 pounds. But anyway, a little bitty thing. And, I said, just keep me up to date. And then I talked to her the following day. She
Mm.
wanted to know when I was coming over. And I said, I'll be there shortly because I didn't want her to tell her that I was in Texas because I told them not to tell her. Then I was flying back And when I got to New York, they said that she was not unresponsive, but she was, no longer talking.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got home, I told my son, I said, they said she had like, 3 days or so, something short. And I told my son, I said, I am tired, but something is telling me to go over there.
Mm-hmm.
So he dropped me off. He says, well, I want to go to the grocery store anyway, because we had been going to Texas in the house. I got there and I was talking to her and I said, you always wondered why you kept saying he hadn't called you home yet. You were ready to go home. I said, you got your call now. It's okay to go.
Mm.
Curtis, she took a deep breath and she was gone.
Wow.
She went and was gone. The nurses was like, I can't believe this. No, she was I said, she's gone. She was ready. She'd been waiting for 2 years. She's waiting for 2 years. She wanted to make sure I was okay because I was having some legal issues. And once all that was gone, she
Wow.
left. Because it was just the two of us left.
Mm.
Just the two little thick thieves. And she would always, I talked to her every day because her nursing home was right here behind my house. So I'd
Uh-huh.
go over for lunch or whatever. I saw her every day. And she'd always say, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I said, you okay? We always had the you okay. And that's what I told her, that it was okay for her to go. And she left me.
Mm.
I told her I was good. Everybody was good. She left.
Wow.
The nurses they were completely shocked. She said, you said that this was going to happen. And I was like, I don't know these things. I mean, I just know I've been through them enough to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, she worries about me and she knows I got stuff to do, but she's going to leave while I'm gone. But she waited for me to come back.
Mm.
She waited for me to come back. So I've been there for all last breaths. All
Wow.
of them. Yeah, I
Wow.
slept next to my dad. That was my homie. I was not going nowhere. You couldn't get me. They said, well, he's going to be okay. I said, no, he's not. No, he's
Mm.
not. He is transitioning. And then even the nurses, when I was telling them that my husband was transitioning, because he went to the doctor Wednesday because they called and said, hey, we're going to give him, he has about 3 months left. And because I told him, do not tell him without me being there. They told him Wednesday he had 3 months left on a Wednesday.
Mm.
Thursday, when hospice was coming in, I said, he's transitioning. He's not going to make it. And they're like, no, they said 3 months. And the nurse looked at him. She said, oh, he died Friday.
Wow.
They told him Wednesday he died Friday. And I tried to tell him, I've seen this enough to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't, I wouldn't say suffer because he had stage 4 prostate cancer, but he didn't take that 3 months. And, he too, like my grandmother, okay, time to go.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, I've seen it, been there, done it. Just, yeah, I understand the mental side of it more than anybody could know.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. Every
Yeah.
time invigorated and live and walking in your purpose.
Okay, we're gonna go left for a quick second. I was moving my mouse around, and I was trying to figure out why there's a muffin on my search engine bar at the bottom of the computer. It says it's National Muffin Day. Okay, so I know what tomorrow is. Can't wait for tomorrow because tomorrow is National Margarita Day. So y'all gonna find me slouched somewhere. But anyway, Muffin Day on Muffin Day. So before I leave you, well, not leave you, but before we end our show, what can our viewers expect from Curtis going forward, and how can they find you?
So thank you, Sister Pam, once again. So you can find me, Brother Curtis Hall, at New College Solutions on all platforms, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. New College Solutions. That's NUCOLLAGE R Solutions, and then my website. If you Google it, I'll come up. In terms of folks who may be here in Central Virginia, I'm at the 3C Church, which is out at 2213 National Street in Henrico, the first Saturday each month for men's fellowship. It's called the Iron Man Fellowship. Shout out to Pastor Julius White and Brother Rodney Gore and the 3C Men's Church family that hosts that. And then we have a Mission Manhood Conference coming up. So I have to publish more information on that, but just save your calendar date for June 19th through the 21st. June 19th through the 21st. And then I will publish other events right now. Matter of fact, today, part of it, Sister Pam, my wife, and I are working on some grants. So I have to publish more dates to come throughout the summer and the fall. But the first Saturday each month at 2213 National Street in Henrico for Ironman Fellowship for men. You're welcome to come out all the way from teens to however old. And then the Mission Manhood Conference, the 19th or the 21st. Those are two out there for sure, but more to follow on other events and New College Solutions on all platforms.
Well, we might get together on one of those, Curtis. I'll definitely ask for clearance and maybe set up where I can interview some of your men if they want to. Yes. If they want to, and have their views on the platform.
Yes.
Because we did that. We did our on location. We're doing some trial and error here. We did an on location at an all men's line dancing class last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't push any of the men at that point to sit down and talk to us. We just wanted to see how I would be received in that environment. So that worked out pretty good. So not the next one, but when they have another one and it fits in my schedule, we'll go in and do that. So I'm kind of putting myself in places and at tables where I can reach more without actually having to send links out for them. So we can reach other people and, get their story out or.
Yes.
But yeah, I would like to pair it with you to do that. I can sit in the corner somewhere and you can just say, hey, you want to go talk to Pam?
Yeah, we can do that. And don't let me forget, Sister Pam, to connect you with Brother Angel and Brother Creative, in terms of community bad people. Yeah, definitely for the men's event, I definitely can run that by Brother Gore and Pastor Julius. And we remiss Brother Joel Hewley, who's executive pastor for 3C. He's like the engine, the brain trust. So those three are like the triad, if you will, of that whole system. But yeah, definitely a pleasure to be part of 3C Church. Got to give a shout out to them for their amazing partnership with not just me, but other community partners in touching men's lives and families.
Yeah, because they can always put me in a room somewhere where I won't be visible and, distracting anybody because I sit for 8 hours at the school. I knew I could sit, for a while. So yeah, that's something they like to do or like to see done. I can be tucked away in a corner.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you, Sister Pam. I know you said we wrapping up, but I definitely appreciate it, and we can get together, like you said, offline to continue our endeavors. But thank you for all the work that you do, and thank you for sharing your story with me because I learned things about you today that I didn't previously know. So thank you for continuing to forge and strengthen our brotherhood, sister siblings fellowship. And I'll give my wife your regards, and she sends her. Well, matter of fact, she's on the call with her team, her legacy circle. She has an awesome group of young women that she's working with. They're like in their latter part of 20s to mid 30s, and they're doing phenomenal work, particularly as serving the elderly community. So definitely, continue to look out for Unbreakable Minds coaching with Coach Yolanda Hall. So yeah.
I appreciate you, my friend. And of course, I'll talk to you soon because now that the weather, hopefully, it's starting to break. I got my fingers crossed. I got a feeling I'm gonna be stuck in Richmond. I'm not sure yet, but because I'm coming to hang out with the girls tomorrow. I might get stuck. It's okay. I'll reach out to you. The weather's breaking. Opportunity to get us out in front of people is what our goal is.
Yes.
Yep. So I appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon. And you are welcome to join us again anytime. Don't let it be a one for 2026 and done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sister Pam. We love you, and blessings to all who bear witness to this. Thank you for your time and sharing this space with us, you and your families, however that look. Thank you.
Thank you, friend. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk soon. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.